Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day to you. Okay, as for today, we will move on to the next topic still in chapter 2, which is Shariah governance framework from the Islamic capital market. So SGF is actually is one of the requirement, or we can say as a requisite of Islamic capital market to ensure all the process, to ensure all the market structure of capital market will run smoothly. So previously we have learned on risk management and then legal and regulatory framework. So all of this will make a whole bunch or a whole system of Islamic capital market. So we need another requirement, we need another part that will ensure that capital market will run effectively in the market. Okay, so please bear with me. Okay, I hope that you are happy to go through this topic with me and you are well prepared to all this. Okay, and we move to the next slide. Okay, so this is our guideline, corporate governance, standard codes and corporate governance in ICM, Shariah advisory, establishment of Shariah committee, duties and responsibility of Shariah committee, access flexibility in making Shariah decision, challenges in Shariah supervision. So this is all outline or the content, plus minus, okay? So you will see this content inside our sharing session. So before going further to the Shariah governance, we have to understand that Shariah governance is a subset of a corporate governance. So in the general, what is Shariah governance will be portrayed in a corporate governance. So what is corporate governance? Okay, dalam bahasa Melayu it called tadbir urus. Tadbir urus corporate. So apa itu tadbir urus corporate ataupun what is corporate governance? So corporate governance is involve a set of relationship between a company management, its board, shareholder and other stakeholder. Corporate governance provides structure through which the company goals are set and the means of attaining those objectives, monitoring performance and determine. Okay, jadi kat sini what portray in corporate governance is a relationship between who? Between the company, between the board director, between the client, between the stakeholder, all are correlated to each other. And what we want to achieve from this relationship is to achieve what is the objective of the company. Okay, in the simplest form, we can define corporate governance is a system and procedure by which company are directed and controlled. So we control company by a procedure, we control by a legal. So all of this will make a corporate governance. Okay, for example, the role of stakeholder, for example, okay, to recognize the right of stakeholder. Okay, contohnya stakeholder lah, kita katalah mana-mana stakeholder, contohnya client, for example, client. Okay, we have to recognize what is the right, what is the right of the stakeholder. For example, he entitled for disclosure and also transparency in a financial situation, performance, ownership. For example, you are the client of, let's say I am the fund manager, okay, you are the client, so you're entitled to have, you have the right to know, to disclose all the information related to the client. Okay, for example, you entitled to know what is the fund, what is the performance of the fund, what is the performance of previous fund, what is the future dividend. Okay, you're entitled to know on it. For example, client lah. Okay, we have another stakeholder as well. For example, we have any investment parties. We have it depends on the company itself. Okay, so kat sini menunjukkan, okay, kita bagi contoh mudah. Contohnya ASIS. Who is the stakeholder of ASIS? Who is the stakeholder of ASIS? So ASIS stakeholder, okay, will be the board of management, okay, management, and then the lecturers, the student as a client, okay, the student as a client. And then we also need industry players. For example, banking institution, financial institution, okay, takaful institution, capital market institution, fund manager. Why we need them? Because they are the provider of human capital for our student. We provide to them. We provide to them human capital. Okay, we give you a knowledge, a training, a degree, and then you'll be the human capital for the industry. Okay, so industry player is one of the stakeholder. Other than that, who is the stakeholder of ASIS? We can say a KPT, Kementerian Pengajian Tinggi. Why? Because they provide to us a syllabus. They provide to us a guideline on how to teach, on how to enroll this course, on how to occupy this course with the relevant aspect of the industry. So that is the stakeholder. We can say stakeholder ni siapa orang yang berkepentingan kepada kita. Siapa orang berkepentingan kepada kita. Okay, I hope you understand. Okay, if you understand what is corporate governance, okay, please give a thumbs up for this explanation. Okay, kalau tak faham, just rewind balik. Okay, kalau tak faham lagi, just let me know. Okay, I will try to answer you. Okay, this is an overview of stakeholder in company. Okay, we have external stakeholder and also we have internal stakeholder. So this is a very general concept of stakeholder in a company. So we have the board, okay, the board of directors, shareholder annual general meeting. Okay, a board can be a ahli lembaga pengarah, and then annual general meeting will be attended by the shareholder. Kan kita ada AGM tu, yang mana pemegang saham will go to the AGM and vote for the board of director. And then we have the CEO. We come lower, we have the CEO or the managerial teams. Okay, executive management. Okay, and then we have all these aspect, audit committee, nomination, risk management, remuneration. Okay, management kan, bila sebut management adalah pengurus, ada pengurus bahagian pemasaran, pengurus bahagian human resource. Okay, and then we also have a head of strategic business unit, which mean a management team, high management team, lower management, community, and also society. And then we also have the employees. Okay, employees will be the one who operate the business, the entire workforce and the labor union. And also we can say as the external stakeholder, as you can see, we have the community or the society who will be benefit from the business itself. Okay, we have the government and regulator. As I mentioned for ASIS just now, who is the government, KPT. So for ICM, who is the stakeholder for ICM, would be the Securities Commission. Okay, media, for example. Okay, why this is important to have a corporate governance? Because having a proper system of corporate governance will ensure the ethical behavior of market participants. So this is very important. In our life, we need for example, last time I have mentioned to you on the legal and regulatory framework. So we need all this legal and regulatory framework, and we want to implement it through this governance. So why we must follow the regulatory framework? Because kita terikat dengan corporate governance ni. Okay? Jadi corporate governance ni yang akan buatlah apa yang telah termaktub di dalam framework undang-undang tu tadi. So apa kegunaannya? Kegunaan legal framework dan juga corporate governance is to control the market or the person involved in the market. Okay, to control the ethical behavior so that they don't overreact or do something that which is non-legal action. Okay, so kita tak nak lah dia buat pecah amanah, kita tak nak dia ambil rasuah, kita tak nak dia berlibatkan keuangan, of course specifically in financial market. Okay, you involve in a lot of money and you involve in high net worth people. Okay, of course there are a huge exposure for that category of financial crime. Okay, and then the second one, to mitigate such practice like insider trading, fraud, corruption, excessive speculation activities. So itu antara dia lah. Unethical market behavior pose higher risk to investors, such as the level of risk is not commensurate with return. And then we also want to establish a proper governance framework. This is important to instill trust and confidence in the integrity of the market. So we need the market, or we need people to trust our system and also our market. For example, we finish this first. To promote investor protection, okay, to encourage flow of investment, lowering cost of capital, promoting stability and growth of the capital market. Okay, for this category, okay, all of this category, okay, we need to instill the confidence or integrity in the market. Okay, we need people to trust us. Okay, and then stability and growth of the capital market. Okay, for example, okay, I give one example. For country A, for example, country A and country B, country A is much higher in integrity. Kan kita ada indeks happiness, index of integrity. So Malaysia ni agak rendah kan dalam indeks integrity. Sebab apa? Because we are high in corruption, for example. So that will affect the reason or the factor from the investor to invest in our country. Okay, itu mempengaruhi keputusan pelabur untuk melabur di dalam negara kita. Okay, jadi tahap integriti itu penting untuk menarik para pelabur. Okay, kemudian of course mereka yang melabur tak kisah di dalam atau luar negara, they need to confidence with the market itself. Contohnya kata dividend, they will receive a dividend twice a year, for example, but none of that receive. Jadi kita tak boleh percaya kepada company itu. Dia kata tertakluk di dalam trusted, okay, entitled to have to receive a dividend twice a year. However, they don't receive it, so we cannot trust the company. And then investor protection. Also, just the example I have given to you. Okay, the dividend that will be distributed is actually the right of the investor. Jadi kat situ we want to protect the investor protection as well. Okay. Okay. For example, okay, we can give an example of what is good corporate governance, what is the bad corporate governance. Okay. The good corporate governance that semua menjalankan dengan baiklah, dividen masuk, okay, board of director yang telus, transparent, no corruption, okay, no problem of integrity. However, bad governance, for example, lack of monitoring project, lack payment in person in charge of the project. Jadi agak-agak lambat kan. Kalau kata buat jalan tu, cepat pula rosak dia, cepat pula berlopak kan. Itu antara bad governance. Okay? Yang mana sesuatu kerja tu tidak dipantau dengan baik. So I want you to find any other example of what is bad governance so that you can understand. So give me, okay, I want three of you, three of your class to provide me what is bad governance. Tapi kalau ada lebih, alhamdulillah, but I want at least 3. So any one of you, please keep this responsibility to you, okay? Okay, so this is the OECD, bukan OCD ya, the OECD Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development focus on such value which are essential, which is they promote in corporate governance. In Shariah, we promote equity and fairness, okay, which is to protect shareholder right, and then disclosure and transparency, ensuring timely and accurate disclosure and all material matter, inter alia, financial situation, performance, share ownership and risk factor, and then responsibility of the board. So the board which is in the top of the mountain, okay, bila sebut board ni mereka yang tinggi sekali, so they need to responsible and also keep their eye to what the operation happen in a lower part. Okay, ensure effective monitoring of the management by the board and the board accountability to the company and also shareholder. Okay, so what is corporate governance from Islamic perspective? Before going further to the Sharia governance, we have to know in the Islamic perspective principle, okay, for corporate governance and Islamic perspective. Of course, Islam actually encourage this. Kan, mestilah Islam encourage, menggalakkan semua sifat-sifat ketelusan ini di dalam sesebuah organisasi. So the principle of accountability, transparency, responsibility, and fairness are principles of good corporate governance practice. They are very much in line with Islam. For Islamic financial institution, IFI Islamic financial institution here, corporate and Shariah governance complement each other. Okay, between corporate and Shariah governance, they complement because why Shariah governance is subset of corporate governance. Okay, Islamic perspective of governance include additional dimension. It shall be primarily guided by the sources of Islam, namely Quran and also Sunnah. So that is additional. Okay, for Islamic governance. For Islamic governance, we have Quran and Sunnah, which we follow. That Quran and Sunnah is also comply with the corporate governance. Also is comply with the Quran and Sunnah. Okay, Isra state that two broad set of corporate governance rules which are exclusive to IFI, a need to reassure stakeholders their activity fully comply with the Sharia principle. The stakeholder also need to reassure that IFI maintain and improve, are able to provide efficiency, stability, and trustworthiness. The role of corporate governance include harmonizing these two functions to meet the requirement of Sharia, satisfy the aim of a profit-generating corporation. Okay, so Islam recognized commitment to an explicit and implicit contractual agreement. Every individual and society should fulfill the contract obligation commanded by Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. So when we say corporate governance, okay, in Islam or any other activities, one of the bad governance perhaps is a void of the contract ataupun pecah pada contract. So in Islam, we take this seriously. Okay, we need to comply for what we have been inilah akad yang telah berjalan. This is reflected in Surah Maidah. Or who you believe fulfill your contract in Surah Al-Maidah, Surah Al-Maidah ayat 1. Okay, by fulfilling contractual obligation, every individual play a role in ensuring a good governance. Some scholars emphasize that IFI should have Shura, Hisbah, religious audit as major component of corporate governance framework. So in order to implement Islamic value in corporate governance, we need all of this. We have Shura, Hisbah, religious audit. Okay, religious audit kan. So that's why we have a Sharia governance. Kat situlah audit religiously will be done. Of course, in Sharia governance also have Shura. Okay, corporate governance in Islam considered to be stakeholder oriented. Okay, Islam actually emphasize on the stakeholder. They acknowledge. Okay, they acknowledge all the stakeholder right. They emphasize notion of equitable protection of the right of all stakeholder, including shareholder, employee, civil society, environment, and customer. So all of this and many more lah, actually is very important in Islamic perspective of corporate governance. Because Islam always take care and take responsibility and they pay attention of all human right. Okay, semua ada hak masing-masing. Katakan employee they have their own right, environment, any business that can manipulate or that can be do pollution to the environment also is not aligned with the Islamic perspective. Okay, based on the fundamental principle of property right in Islamic law, so property right, hak sesuatu harta itulah juga amat penting. Okay, laid down in a comprehensive framework to identify, recognize, respect, and protect the interest right of every individual, community, and also corporation. Islam recognizes each individual and society is given trust by Allah to own property acquired legally. Each person should be aware of their legitimate right, while at the same time to seek protect the right of others. So this is a very important in Islamic perspective of corporate governance, where property right, the right of individual parties is being taken care and been put an attention to it. Okay, Sharia governance. Okay, just go through. So what is Sharia governance according to Dr. Rusni Hassan? Sharia governance system is a set of institutional organization arrangement through which Islamic financial institution ensure that there is effective independent oversight of Sharia compliance over issuance of relevant Sharia pronouncement. dissemination of information, and internal Shariah compliance review. So kat situ, we can see the keyword is a set of institutional organization arrangement. Okay, it's a set of arrangement for the institution and organization to implement what? To implement oversight of Shariah compliance, to implement the Shariah compliance, which include the Shariah pronouncement, dissemination, information, and internal Shariah compliance review. Okay, that is the function of Shariah governance. Okay, when we talk on Shariah governance, it will be related to the upper level of regulator. For example, we have in Malaysia, the first one, this is all the type of Shariah governance framework that available in the world. Okay, for example, the first one is regulated centralized framework. National Shariah Advisory exists, oversee the adherence of instrument to Shariah prior to the issuance and distribution. Okay, so if you can see here, when we talk on regulated centralized, not all country is regulated centralized Shariah governance framework. Tidak semua. For example, Malaysia is regulated and centralized because why? It is regulated and the regulation is actually under the authorities of Central Bank and also Securities Commission. So that's why we call it as a regulated centralized. Okay. National SSC can be found in Malaysia, Indonesia, and also Pakistan as well. Okay. Other than that, we also have regulated decentralized. It is regulated, but it's not under the authorities' purview. Okay, not institutionalized a national SSC to govern industry practice in the case of any Shariah dispute. So such framework require company of ISM products service to incorporate internal Shariah board to ensure compliance with Shariah principle. Okay. And also we have unregulated. The company offering ISM products and services are not legally bound by the regulator to incorporate any formal Shariah advisory function to be set up, rather this company follow other factors like market practice. So for regulated, we also have regulated, however, it is not centralized under the government or under the authority of the country. And also we have also unregulated, for example, country that which is not familiar of Islamic finance like banking. So they are unregulated of Shariah governance. So this is a very important structure of Shariah governance in ICM and also in Islamic banking. So we have two arrows, which is blue and red. Okay, blue and red. We have the regulator. We have a National Shariah Advisory Council, Shariah Committee, Compliance, and also Shariah Review Process and Audit Process. So the first one we will see on the red. On the red, red arrow, which is a Shariah guidance. Okay, we say Shariah guidance. So as we can see here is a regulator. Okay, you can see here is a regulator. Regulator is the one who will do a pronouncement and they will share all the regulation toward the banking or any financial institution. So that means they give a guidance to the people who are lower them. For example, regulator, okay, they have a guideline on collective investment scheme, for example. So the responsibility to ensure all the financial institution and all the employee and operation of the company is well known of the guideline. Okay, so guidance will undergo the National Shariah Advisory Council, which is called SAC. And then we also, after that, we also have a Shariah committee. So Shariah committee, don't confuse. Both of this is a different category. National is related to the Securities Commission and Bank Negara, which is both of them, Bank Negara and also Shariah Committee. Also, Bank Negara and Securities Commission is also a different entity. It might be a same person, but different entity. That one is National Shariah Advisory Council. However, in the institutional level, okay, we have a Shariah committee. For Shariah committee ni kita tak panggil SC, kita just call them as a Shariah committee. So Shariah committee or Shariah advisor, who is the one responsible for the institutional Islamic financial institution or any product of Islamic capital market. Okay, so they receive the guidance, will undergo Shariah committee. Shariah committee will then provide the information, provide the explanation toward the team. Okay, we have a team of Shariah committee team, which is in the team of Shariah compliance. So what we do in compliance is Shariah review process, Shariah audits, okay, and also we have Shariah risk, okay, Shariah risk, and this is the one who do the operational process. Okay, so any process of Shariah compliant which is not non-compliant, for example, for previously we have learned on Shariah non-compliant risk, okay, that involved in the risk or the risk might happen. Okay, dah terjadi pun Shariah non-compliant risk, what they should do, they will do this blue arrow, okay, compliance reporting. So they need to do a reporting towards the upper level of this committee, upper level of this governance framework. Okay, tidak kisahlah, bukan sahaja yang Shariah non-compliant, all the compliant also, okay, they have a set of information that they need to report to the upper level, okay, to the SSC of SC and also the regulator. So this is the system. Okay, maksudnya kat atas tu dah bagi. Okay, orang bawah buat. Okay, ada yang tak kena, ada yang tertinggal dan sebagainya, they need to report back pada atas. So this is the system and this is the cycle. Okay, so for now, I hope you understand first. Okay.